Here's a sort of strange one for you. This is a little Texas Instruments TI-55, sort of circa late 70s, early 80s, I suppose. Scientific calculator, programmable. You go get these for next to nothing on eBay. They rely on a internal sort of rechargeable battery module, and the battery is obviously of that age and obviously totally worn out and had it. So I've taken the battery out of there, and I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll connect it up to an external power supply and see if it works. You know, because there's no point in putting a sort of like trying to fit a new battery in here if it's if the calculator doesn't actually work. So I'll let me just connect a supply up and let's see if this works. So basically this is run through what I did before when I tested it. I connected the positive up to the red lead and obviously the black to the negative. And I thought, well, let's see if it works. They usually do these calculators, there's usually no problem with them. I switched it on, no, nothing. And I checked my supply voltage, you can't see up there, but it's at 9 volts, which is what this unit requires. Nothing. So I messed about with the sort of supply voltage. I could get the display to sort of light up very dimly, but it was, and I don't think it's going to do it now. And I was thinking, oh, well, this processor's crashed, or you know, something's failed in the chip. I don't think you can actually see it, but every now and then it will light up a display briefly, but it's like a couple of dots and they just fade to nothing. Try and get it to do it. No, I don't think you'll see anything. So I was thinking, I took it all apart and had a look inside and thought, no, it's you know, it's failed. And I was just about to think, well, I'll just chuck it in the bin, you know, it sort of didn't cost me a lot of money. And I'm thinking, let's just try it the other way round. Let's put the negative on the positive, and at least we get some smoke out of it, and at least it do something entertaining. So I connected the negative lead up to the positive lead, switched it on to 9 volts, and lo and behold, the bloody thing works. So it's just a sort of an interesting sort of, and pointing out the fact that don't absolutely guarantee that if the positive lead is marked red, it is actually positive, because this calculator's either been wired wrong or someone's put the wrong coloured wire on. I don't know what it is, but that is definitely negative. I've checked my connections. That black lead coming out my power supply is definitely negative, and yet the calculator works fine when you put the polarity in the wrong way round in the connector. So yeah, that's just a small patching video. I've got some more videos coming up, obviously, on the stationary engine when I found the carburetor rebuild kit, and also the thugs back in here, the 8662A, which has failed. I've finally found, I think, after how long is it? 4 years? You think the intermittent problem goes away and it comes back, and then I think I finally found it to a joint hidden under a screened connector on the one of these boards on the top here. I think it was, which board was it I pulled out here? It's this one here. So it's the A6A3, which is the multiplier board. I knew this was always a problem. If you tapped it, the lights would flicker and mess about. I've took it all apart and resoldered the joints a couple of times. And finally found, when I took a screen off that screens the connector, an unsoldered wire, which you were not expecting with an HP product. Soldered that in. It's been working for a week now in the workshop, no problem at all. But I do want to now do a full calibration on it. I've also replaced the internal battery, but I've got some extender cards coming from the States. I haven't been doing a lot of work in the workshop recently because it's been so ridiculously hot. We've had 2 months now of basically solid heat wave. I've never known anything like it. But I don't know if you can see what it's in here at the moment. I mean, I know the Americans always come back and say, "Oh, God damn it, that's not hard. You want to see hot." Yeah, we know. But we're getting temperatures of sort of 35 degrees Celsius, which is in your 90s Fahrenheit. And in the workshop it gets higher than that. It gets to sort of like pushing 100 degrees. It's just too hot to work. But so I've got some possibly a program coming up on this of doing a recalibration. It's a long and laborious task involving basically pulling all these boards out and putting them on extenders and running through everything. I want to get this generator so I can rely on it. I want to be able to switch it on and use it. I don't want to switch it on and think, is it going to work today, or is it not going to work? So that's the next project coming up. And whilst I'm on the subject, the spectrum analyzer that has been being used at work for the last couple of months, they're using it up in one of the labs to do some EMC testing. I was sitting here in the workshop, it must have been last week, and it was one of those hot evenings, and I thought, oh, the next door neighbours are having a barbecue, that's nice, and it smelled quite nice actually. I thought, making me feel a bit hungry. Anyway, I was sitting away here working on the bench like I normally do, and I was thinking, I need to use the spectrum analyzer because I wanted to look at the waveform of the 8662. Switched the spectrum analyzer on, and a cloud of bloody smoke came out the back, and I thought, oh God, so I switched it off quickly to cut the power off it, thinking, that's the end of the bloody spectrum analyzer. Anyway, I let it cool down, and I thought, I wonder what it does when I switch it back on. So I switched it back on, and it was fine. It worked fine. There was no problem at all. It stunk, but it was fine. Anyway, so I sort of took it all apart, and what it was one of those bloody X caps that runs across the mains that exploded, or just sit there burning, and that was the smell I thought was the barbecue. It was actually obviously quite a nice smell. So that's really awaiting a new X cap. It works fine. It doesn't really. I don't know if it really needs it or not. But yeah, as I say, we're waiting for some parts for that. They've been dispatched from the States, and just I'm waiting. As soon as we get those in, I'll start the calibration run.